of artists want the recognition for their work, and it's good. You know, it's gotten me a lot of opportunities, but on the other hand, it's like also not good for your mental health.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, trying to put yourself to that exceptional standard.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be this pillar for artists.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I've been feeling that as like a teacher lately too.
Yeah.
There are certain times where I've always wanted to like relieve my position as a teacher and just be a normal person.
Yeah.
A lot of people see me as like this master of what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want you to see me like that. Yeah. It's like, I just want you to call me like dude or bro. Whenever people talk to me, it's so formal.
Yeah.
Even like complete strangers.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't deserve this. You know?
Yeah.
It's just weird to me.
Okay, cool. I think we're all going. How you doing, man? I appreciate you doing that. So
Yeah.
it's been a while since we hung out.
Yeah. It's been like a couple months already. So
Yeah. I mean, even since Lightbox, but before that, it was a couple years.
yeah.
Nice. Time flies, man. I feel like I have so many people in my life I want to keep up with, but just I guess the scale of it and the amount of time it takes, it's almost impossible. It's kind of depressing, I think.
Everyone's just kind of moving in their own different directions.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just part of growing up, but
Yeah.
you just gotta do what you gotta do to, you know, adapt, change.
Yeah.
It's like part of it.
Yeah. Well, I guess the way I usually start these things, the point of this is not to talk about how to become a great artist or how to get a job in the industry or any of that. It's more about the why of doing art in the first place. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you find meaning in it? How do you devote yourself to a project and fall in love with it?
Yeah.
How do you say things while also becoming like a good technical artist as well? You know?
Yeah.
And you know, like looking at the things that you've done, you know, your books and just the sheer amount of work you put on Instagram with all that stuff. I think it's super cool.
Sometimes I feel like I don't know. It comes by luck, I guess. It's just, I'm not even sure why I'm doing this much work.
Right.
You know, because it's a large amount. I have at least 200 plus pieces that I've uploaded through like Instagram and ArtStation. So sometimes I question like, why is like all this work coming out?
Well, I don't know. I guess I think that's like a why to anything. Like, why do I host this podcast? Like, I'm almost at 50 now, and
nice.
Like, I've talked to at this point dozens of people for dozens of hours, and I don't see any signs of stopping. And to me, it's like they don't get that many views. It's not like there's any direct purpose to it, but there's like a thing inside of me that's like telling me to do it.
Yeah, it's like for the love of it.
Yeah,
craft.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I honestly feel like I'm hitting this point in my art journey where I'm focusing more on like the me aspect of building myself, because I think that's the part that I've neglected for a while. Like in the process of being an artist, I've let myself go several times over the years.
Yeah. Do you mean like mental health and physical health?
Yeah. Both that.
Yeah.
And like I've wanted to kind of reclaim that in recent years. Yeah. So, I mean, you can see I'm like a little bit different.
I know.
Like slightly different, but it's, like people have noticed. My relatives came from Canada a couple of days ago, and the first thing they said was, I don't even recognize you.
No, jeez. Do you feel good about that or bad?
I feel kind of happy at the same time, because it's like I didn't like the past self I was like 7 years ago. Yeah. You know, just not really confident in myself that much. Yeah. And just not really pushing past the boundaries of like where I am now. Yeah. So that's important for me. And like, I guess just important for other people to hopefully get inspired to, you know, elevate themselves. Yeah. I think like people are capable of doing a lot more. Right. So.
Well, I mean, I met you a bit about like, I guess how we met. We met when I was like
4 or 5 years ago.
Longer than 6. I was like 19. So
you're 19.
I met you when I was 19, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Like 19 or 20 or something. So it's been like almost 10 years at this point. Like I'm 27 now, so
I'm 28. So
yeah. So like I've known you for a while now, and it's like I met you at. I didn't go to LCAD, but I met you at the LCAD figure drawing workshops, and there was like at the time this like, from what I can tell, like an overarching in just the group of people we were in, just like a sacrifice everything towards art no matter what mentality. And the older I get, the more I realize, like, I think that might be important to have some time in your life where you're just grinding really hard, but there's so many more important things to living a meaningful life than being a great artist.
Exactly. I mean, I'm trying to tell my followers that too. Like, life's not all about, throwing a paintbrush on your canvas. It's about like just living life and traveling and exploring new places, meeting new people. Developing yourself. Like, I honestly thought I couldn't have like any other hobbies until like I've actually explored them. Like jumping rope or calisthenics or rollerblading. Even I never thought I could do these things until you actually try them out and you see what you're capable of.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a negative side of like working as a professional artist is it requires so much of your attention and effort that, those other loves that you might have in your life kind of get swept to the sidelines. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Like, I think doing art is a good thing, but it's just not everything I don't think I can see myself doing this forever and ever. At some point this has to like close.
Well, I guess I've had that conversation a couple times in the past few days where it seems like a lot of people get tied to this identity of being an artist where it might not even be most of your life. It might be 10, 15 years of what you do, but then you move on to like being a kayaking instructor or, writing poems or something,
Exactly.
Like I guess you don't necessarily have to treat art as the only thing that you do forever,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I see a lot of artists kind of like wanting to tie their identity to art.
Yeah.
And I said this on the podcast with Ahmed, but I've mentioned that I don't want to be like a one-dimensional person.
Yeah.
I want to avoid that as much as I can because, several years ago, I just talked about art 24/7.
Yeah.
And there was nothing else interesting about me.
Yeah.
And that came across to a lot of people. And like, this guy just talks about art. That's all he knows. And I'm trying to encourage that with like other people. Like, don't just talk about art all the time. Like, explore different things.
Well, and I guess it's I think being a person is incredibly complicated. It's like especially for a lot of younger people who have had some amount of success in art or some creative endeavor, maybe that's the first time they get to stand out in life. They get to be the cool guy and, have some positive attention,
Yeah.
And it could be a really addicting thing, I think, just you might train yourself to only find happiness when you're getting the likes that you think you should be getting on Instagram.
Yeah.
Which I think is, dangerous.
Yeah. I think after the first Progo video, when all the followers came in, that's when I had like a small taste of that Insta fame.
Yeah.
And it felt good for a while. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, it was good. But then after, it's like, I've heard this from several big name artists, who've said that, it's dangerous. Like, it becomes a bit more intrusive.
Yeah.
Like, people start coming in more, and then whatever you post can be scrutinized.
Yeah.
So it's
people
double-edged sword.
People hold you to this crazy standard, and deviating from that at all might be detrimental to your career and just what people think of you. And
sometimes I'm afraid to be careful what sort of opinions I say on social media. Like, is this right or is this, appropriate?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, just trying to be careful what I'm sharing and just sharing what only I know as an artist, not what I think I know.
Yeah.
So it's,
definite truths and stuff.
Try not to step on some toes. So.
Well, I feel like that's, it's kind of an ironic thing about being an artist is that I think the definition of an artist to me is somebody who, like, art isn't necessarily just pretty pictures. It could be something that is actually kind of aggravating. It could be something that's kind of annoying, like Banksy spray painting graffiti, anti-capitalist graffiti all over the world.
Yeah.
That's not meant to be pretty, but it's also been turned into like this giant business for a lot of people selling prints or selling his original work for, millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But
so it is what it is sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I guess even art, like the more overarching thing to that is people will assign meaning to art that you've created that isn't actually there too.
Right.
Like I heard an interview with Paul McCartney. Somebody was asking him, like praising him for the song Blackbird. And they asked him, like, why did you make that? It's such a beautiful song. It's had such a huge effect on my life. And he said, money. Money was the reason I did this influential song,
Yeah. I've heard that song.
Yeah.
It's great. Pretty
yeah.
Big hit.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Yeah, like I don't want to, or at least I get this perception that sometimes people will kind of tie a personality to your artwork, to you. And sometimes I'm like, not what my artwork represents.
Yeah.
Like I'm a completely different person from my artwork.
Yeah.
At times. Yeah. And I know some artists, they're like, oh, you look like your art, or like you are your art.
Yeah.
And that's not me at all.
Right.
Like I'm way more faceted than that. Like I'm not tied to what I create.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be. It's just like a part of me, but it's not.
It's not who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think often in order to be a professional artist for 40 or 50 years and also like enjoy it, you need to be doing a bunch of other things. And ultimately, like your art might be like 1 or 2 hours of your day at the very most per day.
Yeah.
It's not even most of your life, but it's the thing that that's the way you like interface with the world for some. And I guess the danger in art is like, it no longer becomes art. It becomes like a product that you're selling, and you no longer even believe the thing that you're trying to push. Or
that's the thing. It's like I just want to avoid being that artist who has to have an obligation to post every day.
Yeah.
And I haven't been posting every day, thankfully. I've been just like trying to change my mindset of, why am I doing this? It's not to please other people. It's just to like cultivate this thing that I believe in, that I want for myself,
right?
Which is my projects that have influence for my childhood and things like that. So,
right. Well, I remember I was listening to an interview with like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, who they were talking about how they were so famous and rich so early in their lives, and they were talking about how they resent all the fame, and the only reason it's ever worth it to have that measure of fame is just to be able to do the projects that they get to do. Like just awesome big scale movies or sound super fun to do, but they're hesitant to say it's entirely worth it for the like all of the other things that come along with it.
Yeah. Fame isn't all that glamorous as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like I've learned that over the past couple of years now.
Yeah.
So
some measure of fame and
just like on a micro level. It's but a lot of artists want that. A lot of artists want the recognition for their work, and it's good. It's gotten me a lot of opportunities. Like I've been getting a lot of emails from different places now.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's like also not good for your mental health.
Yeah.
Just trying to put yourself to that exceptional standard.
Yeah.
Like I have to be this pillar for artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been feeling that as like a teacher lately too.
Yeah.
There's certain times where I've always wanted to like relieve my position as a teacher and just be a normal person.
Yeah, right.
Because a lot of people see me as like this master of what I do. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want you to see me like that. Yeah. It's like, I just want you to call me like dude or bro or like whatever, you know? Yeah. But
Professor.
it just seems whenever people talk to me, it's so formal. Yeah. Even like complete strangers. Right. And I'm like, I don't deserve this. You know? Yeah. It's just weird to me.
Well, and I guess it's like a very human thing to do as well. Yeah. For everyone I know who's been in that position, they're freaked out by it. Yeah. Or at least the people that I respect, you know, they're like, this is weird. Like, this is odd.
Because I'm just a normal person, man. Yeah. Like, if you've seen me 10 years ago till now, like, you wouldn't know that this person came to be this person. Yeah. Like, how did that happen? I can show you a picture later. Yeah. It's just weird to me.
Yeah. It's very odd. I don't know. Like, I'm having my own small version of that as well, just being in proximity to Proco, and just, you know, I've had people recognize me from this podcast, and even just the small amount of positive feedback I've had on it is so strange, you know. It's like so much of this stuff is self-perception, and I perceive myself as somebody who is just like, you know, I tend to be on the more negative side of myself, so that contrast of what, you know, the external feedback is versus my internal feedback is kind of bizarre. I don't know, it's kind of weird to deal with.
Yeah, how have you like managed that yourself? Do you kind of
I don't know. I think as it continues to get more and more, it's one of those things that, like, I'm not talking like I'm super famous or anything, but I think it's important to like continue to humble yourself in whatever way you can. Yeah. Like for you, it's like jump roping and the calisthenics, and like it's hard to feel like you have a big ego when you like you try to go for a jog and you can't run a mile, you know, or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely, you need to have like that fine line. Yeah, it's good to have some form of humility, but also I think like some ego's okay, like healthy ego to push past your boundaries. Yeah. But then you don't want to cross that line of unhealthy ego where you tell people like you're the best there is, or like, you know, and it's, yeah.
Well, and I guess it's like you know, I've talked to a lot of people about this, but like the two imposters in yourself. There's the one that's like, I'm a piece of shit, I'm the worst person on the planet. Yeah. And the other one that's like, I'm the greatest person to ever walk this earth. I'm the best artist. I'm the most intelligent person. And both are incorrect, you know? And if you exist online, you're going to have people telling you you're both. And like, I think true self-love is seeing yourself as like being able to accept your flaws and not being naive about who you are, you know? Yeah. Like accepting your limitations and being okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've definitely had that full imposter syndrome just starting out, but then I realized that turned into a lot of negative self-talk. Yeah. And that's also not good, because you definitely need like a healthy esteem boost for yourself also. Yeah. And yeah, a lot of artists go through that. Just talking down on themselves, like this is a piece of shit, this sucks. It's like, no, it's great. Like, I think it's great. You know?
Well, I talk to a lot of art students and artists who, you know, they want to work at DreamWorks, they want to work at Blizzard or Riot, and you know, like you've gotten some of those jobs, and a lot of those people believe that once they get there, then they'll finally have something of value to say, you know, or they'll finally be a good artist. And
I don't think that's true. Honestly, like, I've never felt that it was great to, never felt it was great to tie your value to like a company at all. Like I've mentioned this a lot, that I don't want to stay at DreamWorks for the rest of my life. Yeah. You know, eventually I still want to cultivate my own stuff. Yeah. And, you know, tying your self-worth to something that is like a title, like senior concept artist or whatever. Yeah. That can be mentally damaging, and just, if you lose that title, your self-esteem
goes up. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's like you see that happen to some people, and you see their like worlds fall apart, you know, emotionally and, you know, financially, and, you know, all these things, and I think that I absolutely agree. Often, if it's in a company's best interest to let go of you, they probably would,
Right.
And and as a result, people holding that over your head could cause a tremendous amount of stress and negative emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a good and bad thing, but it's mostly like not good because when I told my family that I made it to DreamWorks, they were telling all my other family members that I made it to DreamWorks, but I realized I don't want to tie myself to that title. Like DreamWorks. Wow, it's like on my resume. Right. I don't really care. Yeah. It's not that important. It's just
Well, and the day-to-day life of who you are probably doesn't change that much. You're probably still doing a lot of the same art. You're probably doing the same exercises, going to the same grocery stores. Like,
I'm still the same person.
Yeah. And that drastic or that change in title, it's only temporary. And I've met a lot of the people who go and become these great artists, and they're like, I don't fucking care anymore. They're burnt out, and they just want to like hang out with their cats and
exactly
eat oatmeal and stuff.
Yeah. It's very flashy and shiny in the beginning. Yeah, for sure. Because when you haven't made something for yourself, like that's the one thing you're just striving for every day. Right. Like that's your entire life goal.
Yeah. Right.
But once you get it, it's like, what else is there? Yeah. There's more.
Well, I feel like a reoccurring theme on this podcast has been the idea of everything that you want is right in front of you at all times. Like your ability, somebody's anxiety might be kind of cured or at least addressed if they were able to see the beauty in like a tree, just looking at like a plant or, like something like the Irvine Great Park is this incredibly beautiful thing with, fresh air and
nature,
sun, nature, and anyone can go enjoy it. And, like, I feel like when I've tended to be more on the depressed side, it's because I can't see the beauty of the simplicity of the world around me,
Yeah, that's true. Like, I feel a lot of artists can box themselves in just their rooms all day, and they don't ever go outside. Yeah, I saw them. Right. They just study day in and day out.
It's strange to me because a lot of these people, they are like trying to depict these heroic characters and these amazing worlds from like a room that's not too different from the inside of the van. Yeah. And it's kind of ironic, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm trying to like live that out in the real world. Yeah. I mean, it's not like the closest thing to that, or like being out in the real world is much better. Like leveling up, it brings a lot of satisfaction. It's like playing a video game and you invest all your hours in a video game. Yeah. But there's no output out of that besides like that dopamine hit of I got this legendary sword and it doesn't amount to anything.
Yeah. You're still in a room by yourself, just congratulating yourself and hoping other people notice. And
exactly. It's how I feel about art sometimes. It's like you're still in your room.
Right.
But it's not, I mean, it could add something to your portfolio, but in reality, it's like you're still the same person. Yeah. You haven't really worked on yourself. You haven't really like went outside and explored the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the times, people are slaves to art versus having art be a thing that benefits their life. And it becomes like the spirit where they've like have been possessed by something that makes them want to strive for some greater false ideal versus like a, again, just living a nice life, where going to a coffee shop and having a coffee is something that's enjoyable versus something that's stressful because you have deadlines. You can't spend that much time there. And
you see that a lot with art students.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to a lot of people about this stuff, and I've talked to people who are in like the enviable positions of being like an art director or director, and they're like, man, I kind of go like they're slightly tempted to go work at Starbucks just to have something that's a little bit more like 9 to 5, ends at the end of the day, something that's kind of tangible, working with other people, you're working with your hands and stuff. And
that's, I've been thinking about that at times too. Like sometimes I feel like I want to do physical labor.
Yeah.
Honestly, just carrying bags of something.
Concrete.
Yeah, just so I can be useful to society or something, not just drawing with my hand. And, because I see this a lot with my dad. My dad's a mail carrier, and he's out there just busting his butt like almost more than 40 hours a week.
Yeah, for years.
Yeah, for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting comfortably in my chair, enjoying air conditioning.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, I don't feel like I'm anything.
Yeah.
Right. The real world is like worse than that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I feel like there's some like, parallel between like some Greek myth or something of, like you're holding on to this great treasure, but you can never leave the room that you're in because you're stuck with it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I guess it goes back to the idea of there's great beauty around us at all times. It's just our ability to, like, I guess, just take it in and see it.
Yeah, like harness it.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Like going for a walk never sucks, I mean, it can suck if it's super cold out or,
I mean, I've been walking at the Great Park for almost every day now. Just exercising there.
Yeah.
But it's great. Like, it's not, I'm not traveling to another state or something, but just going there every day to like release my mind from those four walls is like refreshing.
Yeah.
But people get the impression on Instagram and stuff that I'm working like all the time.
Yeah.
But I never really show that side too much, Yeah. So.
Right.
Yeah. I just tell people like, I'm not always drawing and painting like 24/7. It's all realistic.
A big part of this podcast for me is like demystifying people and, what they actually truly care about. Because I think Instagram is a very one-sided, one-dimensional form of communication where people only see this one side of you.
Yeah. It's just your best highlight reels.
Yeah. Well, and it's like your art, and like even if it's just the best version of who you are. And this is like a little bit like, long format conversation, see what you actually do every day, see what you actually care about, and try and demystify the vision of what people might think of who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly enjoying seeing artists' life, than like their actual art.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to enjoy that more lately.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll see some artists just post art all the time.
Right.
But there's like nothing to them.
Yeah.
And I like seeing artists who actually post a little bit about their daily life and stuff and where they go and what they do. Yeah. It makes it more like humanized.
Yeah. Well, and I think generally like you're not just your art. Like your art might be a lot more complicated than just your images. Like it's like a lifestyle or like a way of doing things that where your images are just one aspect of who you are. And like for me, I had a big internal battle with myself because I was curious if anyone would actually care like what I had to say, like actually say in terms of speaking. And for a long time I thought no, but then, I'm doing this now and doing it consistently, and I feel like I'm able to say things a lot more accurately than I ever would just by doing images, and I'm able to say things differently and probably better, I think.
I mean, having a podcast is like you're more transparent. You're yourself on camera. So you get to express every single thought, or most thoughts that you have. And you can't really show that through a painting. So very like little of somebody's humor or who you are, like what you did that day, what you eat,
can come across in a painting. And it takes so long to make a painting that, like, of course, that's like the image itself is the only thing that shows through.
I mean, I've been finding shortcuts to make my painting times shorter.
Yeah.
So I don't have to spend, 16 plus hours on an image.
Yeah.
And because I want to use that extra time to do other stuff. I don't want to just spend like 3 days on a piece. It's just,
like a waste of time.
Uh-huh.
Well, it actually might make you a better artist too,
Yeah.
because you can do it for longer, you care more about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're pandering the way you want to spend your time in order to just, like get the likes that you want.
Right.
To do the things that you want to do creatively.
I'm just glad I haven't turned into the Instagram artist.
Yeah.
At this point, like, having the amount of followers that I have now is good enough. Like, I'm satisfied at this point.
Right.
I'm not hungry for more.
Yeah.
It's
tough. I think that's part of the danger. I talk about this a lot, but it's part of the danger of tying your income to your art, because like if you tied your income to your Instagram, the incentive for, I guess, putting out more Instagram stuff would be a lot higher,
Yeah.
Because you got to pay your mortgage and you got to buy food and pay the bills. So,
and that's the thing about wanting to do maybe like another job that's not art.
Yeah.
It's just less stressful to almost do mindless work.
Yeah.
And do art for fun.
Right.
That's like the whole goal is I just want to do art for fun and not worry about paying bills with my art all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess to me, it's kind of strange how common the sentiment is of like, I don't want to tie my validation to my art. I like doing art, but I don't want to, spend all my time doing it. I want to have a life. And that seems like it seems like a lot of people they feel like almost trapped by their creativity because
they can't a lot.
They like can't stop doing it. Otherwise they like lose their income and stuff. And it's I guess for anyone that's listening to this that is like aspiring to be a creative person, like it's not like it's an awful horrible job, but there's a lot more to it than just getting the art director or concept art gig at Riot or Blizzard or something.
Right. Yeah. I'm starting to see that sentiment come true. It's like I don't really care anymore, like I said.
Yeah.
It's just a job at the end of the day, and it pays my bills. So
yeah.
Luckily though, DreamWorks is taking care of me really well.
Yeah.
So they're not like crunching me at all.
Yeah.
Thankfully. I get like 1 month to do a prop.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad. Or like a month and a half. But I've heard like other places are really terrible.
Yeah.
But I think I've just been like fortunate and lucky to be in this position.
Yeah.
But I'm just, trying to make the most of it before my next chapter.
Do you think you would ever like put down art completely?
Probably not. I mean, if I had kids, I'd want to share that side of it with them. Like I wouldn't want to get rid of it completely, but in terms of professional art, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you have any idea what you would do instead? Or
that's the thing. I don't know. I'd probably learn a new skill.
Yeah.
That's not art because I always wanted to learn maybe coding or web design maybe, or just business. I don't know. Just something that's like not in the art sphere all the time.
Right. Because
I've been doing this for almost 10 plus years now.
Yeah. Right.
15 years maybe.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's like another aspect of this is somebody doesn't have to be like, if somebody's committed a huge portion of their life to something, they don't have to keep going down that path. If it's not right, or they feel like they finished that particular thing, they can move on. Like no one has to reach the end of every career path that's set out for them. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's pressure to do that because like if you might feel some guilt for turning down the opportunity to, but yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah, that's why I just tell other people, have something going for yourself too, not just to shoot for that job, but like do something that creatively you like to do, because that's going to last longer than the stuff that you do at the job.
Yeah.
Right. Like I thought I would have lost all my passion for Journey to the East and like my other projects, but it's still going, and I still have like that passion to keep doing it because it's what I love to do, and like my work doesn't take away from my personal project.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It's like, yeah.
So. Yeah. Well, I think that, it's the same thing with like the parallel that I see is like being in school versus your own personal projects while you're in school, where like, you're going to get the assignments, perspective, anatomy, all these assignments that you have to do for school that you really don't care about. But the reason that you're an artist in the first place is to do do what you care about, And Journey to the East is something you started in college, right?
That was like junior year.
Yeah. Well, and like, no, like you might have been able to start sooner if you like had that confidence in yourself. And
yeah, and I guess if like, if I had a mentor earlier on, that would have helped. But I mean, I'm still grateful for all the events that have led to today.
Yeah.
But I've always wished that things have happened earlier. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to mess that trajectory up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think there's always the opportunity to look back at the way you like spent your time and like, I wish I did that instead. That would be so much smarter, or it's dumb that I did this or something. Like hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah. Like sometimes I wish I would have started working sooner. Yeah. That always like hindered me for a long time because I wasn't working in college at all.
Yeah.
So that was like for at least 6 years of unemployment.
Right.
Just focusing on school. So.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I think part of becoming a fully realized person is looking at the things you wish you did differently and being okay with the way you spent your time, loving your mistakes and loving who you are, because like that's again what led you here versus down another path that you might not have enjoyed as much.
Yeah, there's so many things that went on past couple of years.
Yeah. Life is strange, man. It's very weird. Like just the scale of the world is insane. Like I spent 6 months last year driving to New York and back, and just seeing how no one really cares about concept art outside of our little small world. It's very unimportant, to the oil people in the Midwest or some farmers up north or
definitely,
hiking guides in Montana or wherever. It's like concept art is like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then they go and like watch Jeopardy or something,
It's not that special in the grand scheme of things, but the art community makes it this big thing.
Larger than life.
Yeah.
Crazy thing.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand why it's seen as one of those dream jobs that like, oh, you got to do drawings for a living.
Yeah.
So they make it this grand appeal to the non-artist.
Yeah.
But yeah, in reality, they don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
well, and I think even beyond that, like it's not even like the highest paid job in entertainment or games. It's like it's cool to be able to do art, drawing for a living, but like for something like the Avengers, there's like thousands of concept artists probably, and it's just like weird that it's become such a big thing for so many people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I don't even put DreamWorks in my Instagram bio.
Yeah,
I don't put like that anywhere.
Yeah,
not an art station. I do like put it on my LinkedIn because it's on my resume, but I don't want to show people that I like work at DreamWorks.
Why is that?
I just like I just want to be just an artist.
Yeah, be dumb.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna put visual development at DreamWorks. Like I'm some special artist.
Right. Well, I was talking to Marshall Vandriff once, and he was telling me the only reason to ever show your portfolio to anyone is to make money, is to incite greed. Like your art is so personal to you that showing it to anyone else, there's really no incentive to it other than money, because maybe they're gonna like shit on it, make you question your own personal vision for yourself, enjoy it less, like all these different things.
Right.
Like every other reason to me seems like a bad reason, like self-validation or anything,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the whole purpose why people are making portfolios is to get a job, to make money. So,
right. Well, sorry, go ahead.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry.
Like
fucked it up.
No, it's like they'd be lying to themselves if it weren't for the money, I feel.
Well, we talked about this years ago on that podcast we did on Lightshare. It's like, what would you do if you had $1 billion? It's like, would you build a portfolio? Would you work at DreamWorks?
Yeah.
Would you still, like, what would you do? And for a lot of people, it might be like, I don't want to paint anymore. I want to like finally make that TV show I really cared about. I'd pay somebody to do it for me, or I would like move to the country and start my knitting hobby, But like, I feel like somebody's answer to that question might be a determining factor, and like, or it might be easy to locate where they're getting their anxiety from, because they aren't doing the things they really care about because they're waiting to have those resources or have that status, to have the permission to be able to do the things they truly want to be doing.
I feel like posting art is just kind of a form of wanting validation.
Yeah.
Because even though you might not show yourself, you're still wanting to get the stuff that you make validated.
Yeah.
It can be unhealthy.
Well, and like a painting from one perspective is just like a digital representation of your time and your ideas. And I think Instagram gives people a very definite and quick value hierarchy for what's important and what's not, just based on the amount of attention it gets. So it's extremely easy to like, because everyone has the same tools and the same access to information. Whoever gets the most likes, whoever has the best image, theoretically is the best person,
Yeah. It's like can't be further from the truth.
Silly.
I've been trying to limit more of my social media usage these days. Because, these companies just want to keep you hooked into the matrix.
Yeah.
Like it's just this never-ending cycle they keep you in.
Somebody once said, it's like the smartest people nowadays aren't people that are like necessarily solving world hunger or getting us to the moon. It's nowadays the smartest people are getting us to click on ads as much as possible, because that's where the money is. The financial incentives are.
The nerds are winning, dude.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Mark Zuckerberg and like
dude, TikTok is addicting, man. Like
I don't have TikTok.
It's for the best you don't. It's crazy.
Reels is already pretty addicting.
Yeah,
it's like the closest thing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to even go down that road.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't know. Like I feel like it feels like we're living in a version of Skynet. It feels like we're getting closer to that every day.
Yeah.
AI is getting crazy, and just the scale of social media and all that stuff is just bizarre.
Yeah, it's such a weird time we're living in.
Yeah.
As a whole, like a lot of see a lot of flame wars lately over these kinds of things. AI, and
I think it's a very polarizing conversation to have. And, I guess that there's the ethical side of it, which I do agree that there's a lot of really shady stuff happening with the way the art, like images, are collected. And then the other perspective is like, what happens to people's jobs when this stuff is actually adopted by companies ethically, and it can just generate concept art or illustrations incredibly quickly.
Yeah, I can see that happening with like a lot of non-art businesses where they have to create a graphic or something for their website headline. They can just type a prompt, just put it up there.
Yeah.
So that's like someone's job.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, it is a pretty scary thing, I feel, but at the same time, I'm not like
too
super scared. I don't know how to like describe it. It's just like, I don't know. Some people are just terrified out of their minds, but I see it more objectively. Like I'm a little bit more stoic about it. Yeah. I'm not as much. Just
Well, I feel like it's it kind of goes back to the idea of not tying your entire identity to art, because if suddenly the robots do take over tomorrow, it's not like you will lose everything. Right. You still have plenty of things to latch onto to find meaning and purpose.
Exactly. And maybe that's why I'm not as scared, because I think to myself, like, maybe I'm not going to do this forever. Yeah. So why should I be scared?
Yeah.
But yeah, some people will see this as their future.
Yeah.
So, which I understand. But
yeah, I think it's, I don't know, like I'm not going to even claim to know what's going to happen in the future, but I suspect it's going to be kind of a revolution when it does kind of take hold.
Yeah.
And happen.
I can see that. It's like things are spiraling out of control in different parts of the world. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to be optimistic.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing to do. Like I think there's so many reasons not to be an artist and not to be creative that, like, I think the thing that generally gives art value in the first place is the decision that it actually matters and is important.
Right.
Because again, it's so easy not to see value in it, and see it as just not worth the time and all that.
Right.
Do you have any, like, I don't know, grander goals for your work? Like, do you want to be able to make a TV show at some point, or a movie, or?
I've been thinking maybe gathering a small group of artists to do some short film, but
yeah,
I don't see my stuff going like on the big screen anytime in the future. I'm not that adventurous with my work to where I want that level of
fame
and everything.
Yeah,
it's not on my huge list of importance.
Yeah.
I still want to keep things more low key.
Yeah.
And away from the public eye.
Yeah.
As much as I can. So I'm just doing my own thing. I've been spending a lot of time alone, like in nature, just away from, like, I still hang out with friends, obviously, but just being in solitude is really beneficial. I think everyone should learn to be alone.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
on the road. So
100%. Yeah, I think there is a spiritual element to all that stuff. Like, the more you can love to be by yourself, the more, I guess, I don't want to sound pessimistic or anything, but the less disappointed by life you'll be, because when things don't go your way, you always have yourself to, to just enjoy,
Like, what have you gained insight or learned from traveling on the road?
I think generally everyone has the same problems, in terms of, like, everyone is struggling with money or boyfriend or girlfriend or their identity or their job or a manager at work or any of that stuff. Like, you go around the world and whether it's Alabama or Germany or Norway or wherever, everyone is kind of, in a sense, like, living the same life and trying to reach for something greater. And, like, knowing that it's like not diminishing the value of somebody's own problems, like dealing with money or any of that stuff. It's more about, like, it's easier to have empathy for yourself when you know that everyone is kind of stuck in that position.
Right.
It also kind of adds, like, not like a futility, but just like it's almost like a cosmic joke, It's like we're spiraling through space at 65,000 miles per hour on a speck and in infinity, and for some reason we're worried about our taxes, and likes on Instagram.
Right. Yeah, I mean, life can be super unfair at times.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. And like all you have to do is walk down Skid Row in Los Angeles to get a glimpse of, just how unfair it can be for people.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I pass by there like every day almost at work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's...
Do you drive to LA every day?
I drive like Tuesdays and Thursdays to Glendale.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll pass by that area.
Yeah.
Or get off the freeway, and then I'll just go into like a shady neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess it's like another perspective is like they're not that different from you at all. There's like a biblical quote that really stuck with me. It's like, there goes I, but for the grace of God. Like the only thing separating you and some homeless person on the street might be just circumstance, or a teacher you had in school, or some crazy thing. And
right, like there is luck involved for sure,
genetics and stuff as well.
Yeah. How attractive you are can also influence your opportunities.
Yeah.
And some people are unfortunate with that.
Yeah. Like me.
Like me too. And I consider myself pretty average amongst people.
So you're fine. You're good.
I mean, it takes work though to really improve on yourself, and I've been on this self-improvement journey alongside my art as well, and I definitely have changed a lot as a person. Like, not who I am, at its core, but like just maybe appearance-wise, or like different ways of how I act, things like that.
Right.
Just small little nuances.
Yeah.
But it's made a huge difference. Like how I present myself is usually like what I get back in return, like the opportunities and stuff.
Right.
If people see like a nice face or like a nice smile, they're like, okay, he's friendly.
Yeah.
So I'll give him an opportunity. Or like,
yeah. Well, to me, I think that's the idea of karma. It's like if you go about the world just kind of blasé and don't really care about what's happening, you won't enjoy what you're doing, and you'll be depressed. And like I had another guy on my podcast today, and he was saying it's like the hard part isn't actually doing the work, it's finding work that you care about. Because once you find something you care about, it's easy to wake up every day and go to work and do the work and, have a smile on your face. And when you don't care about it, you're just going to get depressed and just, be lazy and unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't like their jobs.
Well,
I feel either they've been pressured by society to do something they don't want to do, or just because of circumstance, like they have to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And that's their only option.
Yeah.
So,
well, I feel like also just fear too. Like fear is a real reason not to do things. And like I'm afraid of things, and I'm sure you are too. And like, I don't know. I feel like the number one thing holding me back generally is fear. And I know circumstances and resources are a real reason not for somebody to be afraid, but at least in America, and if you're healthy, there are a lot of like there are ways of making it work,
Yeah.
And like getting like the, I don't know, status, but the like higher paying jobs that somebody might be searching for.
Yeah. I feel like I've been fearful all my life growing up.
Yeah.
As a young kid.
Yeah.
Because my parents, my whole family put a lot of pressure for me. I mean, coming from an Asian background, it's obviously tough.
Yeah.
And since I'm their only kid, they put a lot of that pressure because there's no one to rely on. So.
Fear is the mind killer, man.
Yeah.
It's like.
Good.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I could say something.
Well, I think I think there's so many reasons not to do art and so many reasons to be afraid. And I think to me, as I'm getting older, the art that I really truly value the most is art done in spite of the fear, like things that I admire most. It's like somebody who is able to look at themselves and look at what they can be, and they like manifest the best versions of who they are in spite of like abusive parents maybe, or shitty circumstances, bad health. And again, I'm not diminishing somebody who doesn't do that because of like doesn't make themselves better because of their circumstances, because it's incredibly difficult. But like for myself I guess that's the stuff I generally resonate with more.
Right. Yeah, I mean, my whole circumstance was just I had to kind of prove to my family that I could make this hard thing a possibility.
Right.
And I don't like that phrase, like prove yourself.
Yeah.
It's just like icky to me.
Yeah, I understand.
Because I hate having to prove myself, but I feel like all my life I've had to do that.
Yeah.
Because just like how the way I looked in the past,
right.
You know, I looked like somebody that someone could take advantage of.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe that I carried with me for like many years.
Yeah.
For like recent years.
Yeah.
So a lot of people doubted me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like a feeling that I've kind of resented.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I totally get that. Like
so,
you know, having to prove yourself is like acting under the assumption that you're not enough already.
Exactly.
And going about your life like that is depressing. You know, I think people are generally enough. You know, it's part of the reason why I really resent the hustle culture in art so much is because it's like, I think there's something really beautiful about somebody picking up a pencil for the first time and just doodling around, doing art badly. And that is like, there's like a profound beauty in that I think is sometimes like lost on somebody's own. Yes, I said they've lost on people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we live in a pretty shallow world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't have the success to back it up, like people see you as nothing. And it's kind of sad in some cases.
I think it depends on the social circles you travel in.
Right.
I guess I think a big part of, again, going back to like the way you present yourself to the world, like if somebody projects that energy where they're searching for that kind of like person or that kind of validation, they're going to be put in those positions where they're going to be like, that's going to be expected of them and they're going to expect that of other people, you know?
Right.
And I don't know, the world is so beautiful and complicated that like I've met incredibly successful people, like people worth $1 billion that are like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like they'll like hang out with like somebody that's like below their station and it will be totally okay. And I've met other people who are like mid-level corporate people who feel like they have the authority to step on people's toes and, you know, take over somebody's family life, you know, try and make as much money as possible. And, it's weird.
Yeah. I definitely sometimes see it in the art world too, where, you know, they're like an artist or a professional artist is not going to talk to you if you're not a professional.
Yeah.
Right. If you're just like a beginner, they kind of look down on you.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always tell my students that don't just treat me as like your teacher or somebody that knows all the answers, because I don't know all the answers.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, like, I love learning from you guys. Yeah. I don't see myself as like above you, you know, just because I'm an instructor.
Yeah.
Like, put that pedestal to the side and just treat me as like a normal person.
Right.
So
yeah, when I feel like with the hero worship we have in the art world, it's sometimes extremely difficult to do that. Like there might be somebody out there that'd be more excited about meeting you than meeting like Barack Obama, you know. And it's like,
okay.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like,
yeah.
And I think it's like one of the greatest things somebody can do for themselves is stop tying the validation of their entire self-worth to the quality of their artwork. Like, I don't consider myself a great draftsman or anything, but
same.
It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter at all.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, I always thought my stuff was not to, like, the concept art level for years because I paint so loose.
Yeah.
And in concept art, they need like highly rendered stuff.
Yeah.
So I always carried that stigma with me that my art wasn't that great because it's not what you mostly see in concept art or illustration. And I don't know, I guess people have seemed to grown to like it.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing about like not being good enough still. Like I've had professionals in my past kind of slam me for my style.
Right.
Like it's so unreadable. Like no one can read this or like figure out the design of your painting.
Right.
And I just started not giving a fuck like several years later, you know. It's
it's part of my problem with like I hate the idea of unsolicited advice in general. Like somebody coming up to you and telling you how they think you should do things because of whatever reason. You know, it's like to help you, but I think it's like an ego thing more so than anything. Like, you know what your art is better than anyone else on the planet. And I think that's true across the board for anyone. And the only thing anyone else can ever do is like tell you that you're doing a good job to actually keep you doing it, you know? And if somebody doesn't feel like they're good enough right now, it's just like lean into it as much as you can. Like if you look at the concept art for Star Wars from George Lucas when it was first being created, it was like really bad, you know?
Okay.
It wasn't really well technically drawn. It communicated an idea, and that's all it really needed to be. And Star Wars has went on. It's become one of the biggest franchises on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you'll find like a niche eventually for your stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all black and white where everyone will hate your stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's odd. That, you know, I was reading the story about this. It was one of the great authors of the past 100 years, and I've talked about this before. But it was this guy on his deathbed, like George Orwell, or you know, one of the great authors, and he was talking about the one great piece of advice he'd give anybody through his decades of reading books and talking to people and writing books and like exploring God. And he says he was embarrassed by the simplicity of it. And it was like, just be nicer to people, you know?
Yeah.
That's the only piece of advice he could give somebody. It's not like some grand declarative thing about how one form of art is better than another or anything. It's just be nicer.
Right. Yeah. All it takes is kindness, and it's as cliche as it sounds. Like we need more kindness in this world.
Yeah.
I mean, people are just mean to each other for no reason, and it's why we have these problems today.
Yeah.
Which can be easily avoided, you know. And
it's kind of silly. I don't know. Like and another quote, it's like no great crime was done out of necessity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like any great crime is probably done out of greed, like big pharma charging, you know, 10 or 100x what, you know, the medication should cost or anything. It's not like those people need food or anything. It's because, you know, they want to buy a bigger yacht or something.
Right. That's why I like never talk crap about anybody online.
Yeah.
Like just try to avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah.
And
it haunts you, I think.
Yeah, it backfires at you.
Yeah.
Because it comes around if someone, you know, hears about it and, you know, they'll share it on their post or something that like this guy's talking crap about me.
Yeah.
Or
don't want to talk shit about Taylor all of it. Taylor fucking sucks, dude.
Some Taylor.
Taylor, suck my balls.
Regret this. Nah, we love you, Taylor.
Yeah, but Josh sucked it.
Yeah. He like opens the door.
Hello. Hey guys.
Sorry, get it.
But no, I think you're totally right. Like, and I'm not perfect either. Like, I think everyone has had their in their lives where they've, you know, said something out of insecurity, and I think generally anything that's said negative about another person is generally like a highlight of their own insecurities, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think in a day you only have the option to say a certain amount of things in your life. Like, or per day you might have like, 10,000 words you could say. And to choose for the, some of those words to be taking someone else down in any way, I think is negative,
Yeah.
Even if it's like justified, because you could be using those words to elevate someone else or elevate yourself or,
yeah,
any of that.
Whatever you put out there is going to come back to you.
Yeah.
So if you radiate positivity, you're going to get that back.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you not want positivity? So
I talked to a lot of people about this particular piece of art advice, and a lot of people agree that like the number one piece of art advice is not to tie any portion of who you are to your, like the quality of your artwork. Would you agree with that, you think?
Yeah.
I
would say so.
Like the number one piece of advice you would give?
Yeah. Like, yeah, like I said, I've just seen too many artists tie their worth to their art, and they're always like stressed out and depressed all the time. Like I see it a lot, and I'm like, yeah, because you just your whole personality is art. You live and breathe art, but there's like nothing else to you.
Yeah.
And it's so important to cultivate other hobbies that you have, even if it's just something that you don't think that you would enjoy doing. Eventually, if you try it out, you might enjoy it.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel kind of odd sometimes hosting this podcast because it seems so simple to me, the like questions that I'm trying to ask. Just like be nicer and don't hate yourself. And it's been incredibly encouraging in a sense to hear how universal like those pieces of advice actually are, like just be yourself, don't care, like you only have so much time on the planet, like do what you want to do.
Yeah, life is short. I mean, we just lost the legend.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's
which one, right? Seems like it was so sudden, man. That was crazy. Like
it's like really crazy to think about.
Yeah.
That all of that work is just gone.
Yeah.
In a blink of an eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure he lived it out,
Yeah.
Like he lived out his passion.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
Yeah.
I just think about it like all the time. Like, when is the last Instagram post I'm gonna put up?
Yeah.
Or like
at some point, right?
Yeah.
Well, like when's the last time you call your parents? When's the last time you do any of the stuff? And the answer is there's gonna be one. It's gonna happen eventually. And, death is something that's really hard to come to terms with. Like I'm 27, you're 28. Like we're getting to the age where it wouldn't be that big of a surprise for us to just drop dead. Like it would suck, but it's like, oh, it's not like he was 15 or 16 or something. It's like,
it's crossing into that boundary of problems start to rise.
Yeah.
Like we can go to the hospital at any point.
Yeah. Well, and some heart thing or some brain aneurysm or like I met Grant Imahara before he died, the Mythbuster, and
okay.
I met him at a party. And I remember talking to him, and he was just this incredibly kind, healthy guy. Incredibly bubbly and interested in what I was probably like 17 when I met him, and then seeing when he died from a brain aneurysm so suddenly was just like existentially terrifying. This guy,
was he?
like he was like 50 or like 45. He was young. He wasn't like an old dude.
He was young.
Yeah, and just seeing how I think he was older than 45, but just seeing like, here's this guy that has done so many things so correct. He's lived a great life. Everyone loves him. Like no one dislikes Grant from Mythbusters.
Yeah.
And, just taken so suddenly, so quickly. And for anyone that doesn't know, I'm wearing a Kim Jong-gi shirt. They might be listening to this over audio.
Nice. Where'd you get it?
My aunt gave it to me.
Oh, sweet.
But
Yeah. It's dope.
Yeah, good t-shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts.
Nice. I wanted to get something from Kim Jung-gi, at least, but...
Do you have one of his books or anything, or?
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure his stuff is selling a lot, like his signature copies.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, but I also think it's, like, incredibly admirable that, like, he's inspired everybody. You know, there isn't anyone I know that hasn't been touched by something he did. Even people that aren't in the art world, they, like, saw videos of him doing his thing, and, like, just going around Los Angeles, you'll see, like, fragments of him around, like, the stuff at Riot, like the giant mural he did, or like just things he's done.
Yeah, those people are one of a kind.
Yeah,
they're hard to come by.
Yeah,
there's copies of him, but it's not even close.
Yeah,
to the original.
Yeah, and I think the only way you achieve something like that is, again, like a pursuit of your truest self. You know, it's like he didn't get famous until he was in his, like, late 30s, you know. He was just doing his thing for a long, long time, just no credit, just enjoying it. And, like, pursuing that idealistic love for it for the entire time. And maybe he wasn't entirely, like, pursuing it just for the love of it, but he definitely did love it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories that he would always be happy to draw in people's sketchbooks. Like, when they'd come to him, he'd draw in every single sketchbook that was presented to him.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, he was, like, completely exhausted and wiped out.
Yeah. Well, I think there's, like, a love of the craft there, and a love in just, like, again, like the simplicity of just enjoying drawing, enjoying, like, just doing a little sketch. You know, I think there's something really pure about that.
Yeah.
Like, to me, this board has become, like, a really cool symbol to me. You know, it's like I've had so many people I look up to draw on it.
Is this every artist who's come into the van?
Most of it's drawn. It's like Scott, Alec, Ryan Benjamin, Rembert, Von Told.
Let's go.
Ahmed did one. Modern Day James, Tyler Murphy, Joseph, or Kenneth Yaris. I had Steve Hampton on the other day.
Oh, sick.
Morgan Weisling. I mean, I just, like, dozens of people that I really admire doing this thing. And, to me, it feels like a little artifact of, you know, who these people are. You know,
right. I mean,
what they've done.
It's gonna stay forever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's this photo.
Yeah. I want to ask you to do one.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah.
Have you been, like, exploring God more?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know about the Christian God, even though I've been reading a lot of Christian stuff. Right. But the idea of God is something I'm a lot more willing to accept than I was before I started, like, trying to see the world.
Gotcha.
The thing I repeated a lot last year is I now am confident that I believe in God, versus before I was like,
I feel, I feel I've grown closer to God than past years, because just of all the things that are happening in the world. Yeah. Like, it's aligning with what is in the Bible, or, you know. But, yeah, it's a lot of good morals I've learned from like, Christianity and God, and, like, how to be a good person. It's all there.
Yeah.
So...
Well, I think anyone listening to this that might be turned off by this conversation, I think the thing we're talking about isn't necessarily, like, the gray man, the man with the white beard that's overlooking everyone. It's more of, like, a, you know, God could be something as simple as, like, you know, walking down the street and giving someone a high five, or, you know, enjoying your coffee, or, you know.
Essentially, he's, like, everywhere.
Yeah.
He's not just in the sky.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated. You know, the way that I look at it is that I am so limited in what I am. You know, I'm just a single human being out of 100 billion or something.
The universe.
In the universe, in this giant, you know, and the only thing that I can do is when I'm able to with this short life that I'm given. And there's so many things beyond me that the idea of like some sort of being that's so beyond me I can't even understand it seems a lot more likely than it did before, you know.
Mm.
And traveling for me kind of highlighted that notion of just the scale of humanity, you know. Like, to me, I don't believe in like the literal miracles of the Bible, but I believe in like the miracle of like the fact that if we wanted to right now, we could drive across the country and feel confident that there's enough food and water and roads to get us across. You know, it's like a miracle of just pure scale.
Right.
And knowing myself, I'm so disorganized, and so like my head's up so in the clouds a lot of the time that the fact that people got together to build highways or to put food on my table is like fucking crazy. You know, there's like somebody to be thankful for.
I feel like a lot of people can take things for granted.
Yeah.
Just the water they have to drink, or like, you know, even just a small meal in the water.
Yeah. I mean, even this table in front of us, like, or these cameras or this van or anything, like, I wouldn't even know the first thing about like mining the metal in the quarry to build this door or this plastic or anything. And I could just exist as like an enjoyer of these things and not even think twice about who made them or who designed them or anything.
Yeah.
It's like bizarre and odd.
Yeah, I think gratitude solves a lot of problems like depression or, you know, feeling that you're not good enough. Because if you're always thankful for the things you have, then you don't have to constantly keep searching for other things.
Yeah.
And what you have is like sufficient for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's always a way of changing your perspective in any situation you're in to be thankful for what you have. And I guess I'm not saying it's easy, but I think no matter what, that could be the case. Even if you're, you know, in a situation where you feel like you're completely hopeless, there's always perspective that you can be thankful for the water that you have. And the fact that, like, we don't have to worry about somebody coming in the middle of the night and abducting us or murdering us for some war we're not even involved in. And or the fact that, like, you know, I'm 27, you're 28. The average lifespan for most of humanity was like 35. We're like old men, technically, by like the average of.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Like how fast life evolves from birth.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's really complex.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that how short of a time you can to really enjoy life.
Yeah.
And make the most of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think time does fly. Like, we're going to look back at this podcast at some point and be like, wow, we're so young. You know, we're so stupid.
And it's like 10 years later.
Yeah. And we're 20 or 30 or something. I think part of growing up is realizing at some point you're going to go to your friends' funerals, you know? Like,
yeah. It's scary to think about.
Yeah. You know, like, who's going to die first?
Oh, God.
Where's some wood?
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, and the answer is like someone, you know.
I think about that with my family.
Yeah.
You know, because all my family members are alive. You know, I'm grateful for that. And no one has died yet in my family.
Yeah.
Like recently, no one has.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the last death that passed away in my family was like maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So, like, each day I'm more closer and closer to my parents.
Yeah.
Because I don't know when they're going to go.
Right. You know, yeah, again, you're getting to an age to where, you know, being 28 and your parents dying is not unexpected.
It's pretty common.
Yeah.
Like 30s, when you enter your 30s, most of your parents will pass away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
Yes.
But it's good to like talk talk about these deep subjects.
Well, I think that something like death is something that we don't confront enough as like a culture, you know? Like we go about our lives doing our jobs and living our lives and, you know, going to the grocery store, going to the gym, but death is such like an abstract idea. It's not something that I really consider on my day-to-day basis, but everything around us is going to end. And I think there are two ways of looking at that. It's like, oh, there's no point in doing anything because it's going to end anyways. Or like, yeah, just that fundamental gratitude for having the chance to have loved ones in the first place and to have something to even care about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to be as optimistic as I can.
Yeah.
And not fall into nihilism.
I think part of this podcast for me is like, there are so many reasons to be a nihilist that it's like, why not? You know? There's so many reasons to.
Yeah, it's gonna have both sides of it. I think.
Yeah.
To be realistic, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's most of what I have to say about myself.
Cool. I guess I appreciate doing this. I don't know if I have any other questions or anything.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered a lot.
Yeah.
How should people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Layered Painter. And if you type in my name, Dom Lay, you can find me on ArtStation. Yeah, that's it.
Sweet.
So
awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Cool. Sweet.
Cool.
I'm going to skate now.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.